Talking with famous people.
Hi, host Eric here, host of Talking with Famous People. And this evening, I'm going to respond to a very considerate gentleman who was nice enough to ask a question on one of the videos, which the individual's name is DiNozzo431, and I don't know whether this person is a male or female for sure, but I'm thinking male based on what I read. Either he looks exactly like a pug breed of dog, or he's chosen to use a picture of a dog as his profile picture. I've noticed a lot of people, most people I would say, don't use their face. Okay, so let's get to the get down to it. Sitting here and musing pointlessly. This has to do with the question. I've got a question. Let's say one does not want to do work as a debate coach. Then how does one go about finding what it is they want to do, supposed to do, or whatever? I mean, the thing you said in the beginning, which says, once you got the thing figured out, you immediately lose interest. The story of my life. I mean, once I get an idea into my head that excites me, I'll obsess over it. This can last a day, a week, a month, 3 months, whatever. But eventually, once I get it, I'm done. And he compares himself into an ENTP friend who makes more money, and he thinks to himself, I'm turning 26. He's had a grand total of 2 jobs, one of which is part-time. But being financially limited makes things difficult, obviously. And I would rather at this point, figure out what I should be doing. And since I realize I'm probably the only one that's able to answer that question, but I thought, why wouldn't I just ask someone who's a bit further down the road, Okay. Then he does this ENTP thing. He apologizes for writing so much text. I do that all the fucking time, except I'm starting to do it less now. And it's because of this YouTube channel, and because I'm able to see other ENTPs doing it too. And I go, oh, okay. Now, this is part of how they oppress us, fuckers. Because I think it's a bad thing to communicate a lot, Anyway, let me get to the point. I'll have to edit this, I guess. I made some pictures. I made some papers. I made some papers. I forgot about that. Alright, so this is called, let's start at the top. Work, I'm going to pretend like it's coming up from the bottom, like credits. Work, economics, and the younger ENTP. I put that in there because I figure this advice will be specific people who still have more opportunity in front of them than I have, And then it says, whatever that is. I can't read it because it's all like mirror image in the camera. I can't read it. I don't remember what it says. So you can read it though, hopefully. Alright, so let's go over these things one at a time. Work, economics, and the younger ENTP, that's the title. Now, the cow one. So I've given them each, instead of numbers or letters or whatever, I've given them an animal or a thing that corresponds with them. So we've got cow, Christmas tree, mustache, drum, seesaw, and bird. Alright, so let's start at cow. You could be an employee. Possibility. Let's look at that though. You gotta look at these 4 things. Activity level, hierarchy, time blocks, alternatives. Activity level. How much activity do you really want? It sounds like you're doing this part-time thing. You don't want to be locked into a firm schedule. And you need to, when I say activity level, that functions on multiple scales. Which is to say, how much activity do you really want during the course of a day? I think the ENTP is best suited by short bursts of activity and or long stretches of sustained activity. I'm going to get and read on one of these things a chunk of Thomas Mann's Dr. Faustus. Meow, meow, meow. We'll get to that when we get to that. Okay, so hierarchy. Can you put up with hierarchy? How much can you put up with it? The answer is no, but how much can you actually put up with it? If absolutely necessary, more than you think. Will you, though, is another question. Depends on how disciplined you are, how self-disciplined you are. All right, let's look at time blocks. Work's going to require you have on big blocks of time. So regardless of the total amount of time, usually work's going to require a large chunk of time for you at once, and that's going to eliminate the possibility of doing anything else during that time period, obviously. They tend to want you to prioritize work, over other things. So, okay. The other thing to consider is the fact that there are a lot of alternatives. So, it would be one thing to be an employee because there are no other alternatives, but there actually are a lot of viable alternatives, and I'm going to get into those now. The next possible option, instead of being a cow, you could be a Christmas tree. And these have nothing to do with the thing, it's just random, okay? Independent contractors. That's basically an employee without any employee rights and without any employer responsibilities. It's only advantageous to you if you plan to do a bunch of little gigs. Now, if you have, well, I'm not going to get into that yet. That's later. Right. Well, legals. Yeah, so that's the legals on it. Is you're just basically an employee without any employee rights, and your employer doesn't have any, or has fewer responsibilities. You have a little bit more flexibility. For me, I'd prefer it anyway because I find those complications of employment unnecessarily complicated. I'll work for you, you pay me, that's it. Why do we need to have these statuses, I don't like it. But anyway, if I had to have a status, I don't care if it ends up sort of harming me net in terms of outcomes. It doesn't from my perspective because I prefer to be an independent contractor on multiple levels if I were going to work for somebody else. And the advantage is that, well, if you need to, it depends how well you define that differentiation yourself going in. You've got to work that narrative a certain amount. I don't want to get into it, it'll be too complicated. Salary or contractor. If you want to be a salaried contractor, then you get a contract and you get a salary. And this is the shittiest deal of all, frankly. If you're wearing a tie and getting a salary, you're getting fucked. I know. My bunghole is still sore. So, there's not much more to say about that. You'd rather be an employee. You'd rather get hourly. For sure. Factors of note. Skills, meow and meow. What does meow and meow say? Magic papers, gold and stuff. Skills. If you got the skills, you can make money with them. If you have skills in some sort of area that people actually want stuff done in. If you've got skills in, well, I mean, there are a number of different areas. So I don't know what your skill set is. But you should, first and foremost, look to what skills you could apply to profit-making endeavors. Number 2, magic papers. Do you have a bachelor's degree? It shouldn't matter at all. But it does for a lot of job type situations. Doesn't matter to me. Goals and such. Do you have specific goals? I mean, I don't actually think it's a good idea to start with specific goals. I think it's a good idea to develop them as projects develop, right? So here's the thing. What I want to pay particular attention to, I've got a page 2. That's right, 2-pager. You know page 3? No, I don't. Okay. Yeah. It says whatever it says. I can't read it like I told you before. I'll tell you what, I'll move my mouth and you read it, and then it'll sound like I'm reading All right, well, as you see here, we've got alternative approaches. This is life effort spoilage loss. So ENTPs are particularly prone to life effort spoilage loss. The point is, life effort spoilage loss means don't let those seeds, that's what those things are, go to waste. Don't think they're worthless. Don't throw them away. Archive them. Put them someplace on the internet where you, even if you don't want them to get any traffic right now, where you can look at them yourself. Try to organize them occasionally. The thing is, we're not necessarily terrible at organizing time objects. We just find it laborious, okay? So, that's number one, is note that you are constantly doing little works, okay? In whatever medium or media or whatever it is. Make sure that goes down on your permanent record, quote unquote, as part of your identity build, your ongoing identity build. Whatever little projects and shit you're doing, have someplace on the internet that doesn't go away and that doesn't change, that you can reliably put shit at. For example, for years I had a blog. I still have it. I've had it since 2004, 2003, something like that. And I didn't touch it for years. And then eventually I came back to it. And after a long period of trying random shit, I finally got the password right, or got in there. And then I started using it a lot all of a sudden for a while. And now I haven't used it at all for a while because I've been just doing YouTube shit. So that's cool though. The good thing to remember is when you complete little pieces of work, whatever they are, whether they're blog posts, pieces of writing, if they're little videos, whether it's just raw material, save all that shit. Construct your identity actively. When you're doing this, first of all, you are spreading seeds as widely as possible, okay? You want to make everybody, if you touch base with somebody and involve yourself with the project with somebody else briefly, include it in your identity build, so to speak. Try to archive everything. Now, I know this is a big, laborious task if you were trying to do it in any sort of way that requires you to be consistent or anything. You've got to find a way where you can just put stuff up wherever, in whatever format, that you do not care about that. You're just, I don't know what category to put it in. Just fucking post it then. Deal with the category later someday if you feel like it. Take everything with a grain of salt and only obviously ever listen to me if you find it applies to you, resonates with you, etc. Anyway, other possible options are entrepreneur, be a businessman. I gotta tell you, it's a hassle. It's a hassle, and I'm not good at it personally. I'm good at, I don't know what to say. I'm really good at my job, and I should be making at least twice as much money as I'm making, but I just I'm not very good at business, I guess. I only call back if it's the wrong time of year when parents are calling me, which is when they want to call me, which is when I don't want to think about the baby, which is like the middle of summer. I just won't call them back. They want to come and do two things for me. They want to give me children who I can use as soldiers, number one, that I need, right? I need soldiers or else I can't win wars. Number two, they want to give me money. They want to give me large checks. Right? But I can't be hassled if I'm in the middle of something else. And nobody will help me the way I want them to help me. Which is just fucking handle all that shit. I had a business partner and I guess I was just too crazy for him. It's like, you deal with all this stuff. I don't want to deal with any of this stuff. Well, you can't just be a baby. That's the fucking problem. You can't be a baby your whole life. I can't be a baby my whole life. I'm being a baby right now. I'm 44 years old. I'm still being a baby. Anyway, that's not going to do either of us any good, is it? Seed streaming I already talked about. Archivism I talked about. Long tail stuff. Remember long tail? I'd highly recommend YouTube. you're just putting up your random thoughts, you're just putting up still photos with no sound, you're just putting up sound with no photos. Whatever, dude. Put up everything that possibly could be considered. Anything you put effort into is work. Except for physical stuff like jogging. That's not work. That's a waste of time. Yeah, I mean, it is. I don't know what else to say about that. It's a fucking waste of time. Anyway, what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, get an LLC and give it a vague name because you might want it to do anything. You don't know. I gotta get a LLC for talking with Spanish people, I think. I have an LLC for my business, Autonomy Debate. And I don't know. Tax season this season is going to be so interesting. Okay, next. Oh, right. Well, actually, try being a debate coach, is what I would say. In response to your very first couple sentences, which would seem like the perfect fucking fit, if you think about it. Well, it is the perfect fucking fit, regardless of what you think about it. And I'll tell you why. Topic changes every month. Topic changes every month. Alright? Now, if you're a smart guy and you're an ENTP, so of course you're a smart guy. And look how verbose you are, right? I'm looking at the side of this paragraph. Why are you not able to consider looking into that? Talk to me. First of all, if you want to consider the possibility and take it seriously, talk to me, and you'd be surprised how many. Talk to me. Anyway, but the other thing is, if you don't want to do that, then, well, you sort of have to make a decision. Are you going to try to make money, or are you going to try to get a job? So I've got one last suggestion for you. When I read this, I hear myself when I was 26, but in terms of this existential angst that's implicit in our being poorly timed, in the sense of a timing belt on a car or something, one possible thing to consider is ADD medication. There's a couple that can help with that, which are naproxen is one. It's a non-amphetamine, and it's used for shift workers mostly, which is, well, that's what they prescribe it for. I don't know if it's actually used for that. I don't know how many shift workers go get medication for getting sleepy because they're working all night. It seems strange. Is it a medical condition? Yeah, I have to work all night and I get sleepy. Was he asleep during the day? Well, I really don't like sleeping during the day. Okay, so basically you're saying you're not sleeping so you get sleepy. Okay, anyway, that stuff works and it's effective, keeps you on task. I mean, basically what it does is it does nothing except you just find it easy to work. And it has a low abuse potential. So it's like you would never get addicted to it. Like, I mean, now I'll take 8 of them because it doesn't make any difference if you take 3 or 8. That's a possibility if you want to try that. It's prescription, but it's not super high schedule. It's remarkably effective. I was shocked. And then there's Adderall. You could get that. I would say naproxen is probably the preferable drug. I'd say it's more effective with fewer side effects. Side effects of Adderall include chronic lateness, smoking more, a certain inability to pull back from the trees and look at the forest. That does not happen with naproxen. So I would advocate the latter, and if you don't want to try anything like that, then you're going to have to get real creative, because I know how it is. And the funny thing is, I don't know about you, but when I was younger, teenager or whatever, I was certain that I needed only one thing, self-discipline, and I lacked it. And what the fuck was wrong with me, right? Why can't I stay on task and finish it? What the fuck is wrong with me? I got a message for you, my friend. There is nothing wrong with you. You are an ENTP acting like an ENTP. And sometimes you got to get a prescription to help you deal with that. It's not because you necessarily have anything wrong with you. It's because that drug makes life easier. In fact, it doesn't just make it easier. It makes you go from a mess that can't accomplish anything to a mess that can't stop accomplishing things. It's a big difference. Anyway, that's what I have to say. Thanks so much for coming and asking me a question. I so love it when people ask me questions. As an ENTP, of course, I want to give my opinion about everything. Thanks for watching Talking to the People. I've been host Eric. Goodbye.
Talking, talking.